All right, welcome to another episode of Shoot Your Shot. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Hey,
Hello,
Georgia.
guys. Hey, Claire.
How's it going?
It's good.
It's been a morning.
I know. Because I ate some of your chocolate espresso bar, I actually feel like I got more energy.
It's really good too, right?
Yeah, I've never had that before, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like
Maybe I should get that.
My new coffee is just espresso chocolate bar.
Well, coffee's been hurting my teeth, and I don't know why.
Really?
Is that like a thing?
No, I mean, ask me.
I don't know, but I don't
Hurts
usually
your
drink.
teeth?
Yeah, it hurts the back of my teeth.
Oh, weird. I feel like you might want to go to the dentist.
Like maybe I can get that cavity.
That's not good. Well, we have a great episode for you today.
Yes, we're super excited about it. Oh, she hates when I say that. I am excited about it though.
This is a good one to be excited about. We hope this one offers a lot of value. Especially for people starting. This is really mainly targeted for people who are just starting to get into the creative industry. We want to give you guys a big push and encouragement on how to acquire clients, because obviously that is like the number one thing you got to do if you want to have an entire career in creating.
I just feel like everybody, specifically who's starting out, I mean, this might even help those who are already creating. Like maybe we throw something out there where you're like, oh wow, I never thought of that.
True.
But especially for those who are just starting, I know I was like looking at everybody and I was like, oh my God, how are they doing this? How are they getting that? How is this? And like, I don't know, it felt very intimidating. And I think now from both of our experience, it's really not that intimidating. It's actually like kind of easy to find clients. It's a lot of work. It's
not as complicated as it seems, or it's not as like mysterious as it seems at the beginning. Like I feel like when you just start, it's just like a question mark, because there's no like how to become a professional photographer for dummies. Yeah,
and like a lot of people, classes. And a lot of people will like sell little templates or workshops or videos or something, and then you do it and then they don't actually tell you. And I'm sorry, but I hate that. I think it's so stupid.
Yeah, gatekeeping is stupid.
Yeah, no, literally. Like I'm all for like if you do and sell something where you actually give people like valuable information. But I've even like been somebody where I bought something before and they were just like, do all these very generic things. And I'm like, well, great. Yeah. There's $50 that I spent where I already knew that. Yeah. Thanks.
Exactly. So we're here to give you very specific tips on how to acquire clients. We're not going to go over all of them today because there's a lot of ways. We'll probably do a part 2. But these are like probably our top 4 or 5 most like predominant ways that we personally
especially
acquire
like
clients.
for starting out.
Yeah. And then we have a little bit of a different space in the creative industry that we're in. So you're more in the hotel travel industry, and I'm more so in the very like, we both do a little bit of both.
I mean, kind of. But that's like part of it.
But you do a lot more like travel hotel work than I do. I do a lot more like branded like product work.
Yeah. Well, no, I do a lot of, well, no, my thing is mainly with brands. I mean, and hotels. So I would say brands and hotels.
Okay. Well, I do a lot of brand stuff and like all very product focused oriented, like campaigny. Yeah, I was gonna say, or like people. I work a lot with like people too. Like
that's where I think we differ. You're very like product portrait, like editorial. Yeah, which is good. Like you fucking kill that game.
Thanks. You kill the travel stuff.
Thanks. And I do more like branded mixed with travel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's slightly different niche. And I think we also maybe reach out in like slightly different ways. So anyways, we're just going to go over the ways that we do that. I think the first place we can start, I think you should start with like the websites that you've used, because that's like super easy and like anyone can do it.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say, especially if you're first starting out as a creator, utilize Upwork. Like I know a lot of people that still...
Tell them what Upwork is.
Yeah. Okay. So Upwork is essentially a site. It's like a freelancer site. So they post a lot of different jobs. They do social media management, like photography gigs, event gigs, video gigs, like literally any possible thing that you could imagine, like graphic design. I think they might even post babysitting jobs on there sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can filter your search, which I'll like touch a little bit more on. But I know for me, whenever I first started out in the creator world and I had no idea where can I find a job? Like where can I get this? Where can I do that? I actually found a lot of stuff on Upwork that gave me that opportunity to not only practice my skills, but let's say if you are newer in this industry and you need room to make mistakes before you work with like that really big client where you can't afford a mistake, then you can utilize Upwork because I don't know. I don't want to say like they're not going to pay you as much, but there's a lot of jobs on there that like are like a $300 gig for this, a $500 gig for that. And like, obviously that's not like, you're not worth more, but they're good little jobs to pick up to practice.
Yeah, exactly. And on Upwork, it's nice because you can look for jobs and then you can also post yourself as a creator. So you can have like a graphic designer, like starts at 15 an hour, like that kind of thing. So then when people are looking up graphic designer for their business, your account, your profile will pop up and they'll be able to like pick to hire you. You can also set your prices on there.
Yes.
Upwork does take a percentage of the money that you get on there.
But most of the time, I will say from my experience, I don't know if Upwork will be listening to this. I hope not. But normally the transactions happen outside of Upwork, and it's mainly a platform to just connect you with the person, and then most of the time that conversation then gets taken to email or text, and like
exactly
you guys decide your own rates from there. Unless you're hiring, like, I don't know, unless like, because I also used it from like a business owner standpoint before, where I hired like our guy that works on our podcast with us, who helps us edit. I pay him through Upwork. So there's also if you're a business owner, you can hire people on Upwork too, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, so that's a great place to start. I used Thumbtack Pro personally when I was first starting. I haven't been on the platform in a while, so I couldn't tell you exactly what it looks like, but from what I remember and what it was like for me, it was basically the same thing as Upwork. It was much more photography and videography specific. Okay. Like there was a lot of photography jobs. I think there's a little bit of everything, but it was predominantly created for that niche of the creative industry. So I think if you're in video or photo, it's a really great place to go. It's super similar to Upwork. It's just a different platform.
I think I used that once. And I'm like having a flashback.
There's a lot of jobs in LA actually for it. So maybe it's also like a California one, but I would just check it out. It's a really great place. I think I got like at least 4 or 5 good jobs on there. And 2 of them are for corporate companies, which are like very boring gigs, but they paid really well.
Oh yeah.
And I was like 21 and I just needed cash, and like they were super chill to work with. So it may not be your dream job, but it is going to pay your bills, which is so important. And then B, it could turn into your dream job if you like are connecting with these people and then they grow or they connect you with other people. So I think that's a perfect way to segue into connecting, networking, word of mouth. For me personally, the way that I make the most money is word of mouth, if I'm being honest.
Honestly, same.
People referring me to other people that they know. And the best way to get referrals and word of mouth communication is through networking and doing a really good first job. So like, I think you and I are both very strong at this, is that we're very good at talking to people and meeting people and like putting ourselves out there. And it can be, especially at the beginning, I totally get it. It can be so intimidating and scary to do it because you don't want to be obnoxious. Like, hi, I'm a photographer, hire me.
Yeah. And you don't want to be like, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this.
Exactly. It's really about fostering genuine connections and relationships, helping people. And then as you grow and you are like showing that you're busy and that you're working, the people that you're around, surround yourself with people who are looking for creatives, or who know people who are looking for creatives. That's why it's so important to surround yourself, put yourself in a creative community. It's like one of the best things ever, because people will give you a job, or if they can't shoot this music video, then they'll be like, oh my gosh, well, Georgia shoots music videos, so like let me hire Georgia.
Yeah, like, let me see if she's in town or something.
Exactly. So
it sounds so like vague. Because even whenever I remember when I first moved to LA specifically, I was like constantly like in the music industry looking for gigs, and I literally didn't find a single gig until I put myself around people who were also doing it and just became the person that was like, I'm Georgia, I do this. I'm Georgia, I do this. And like everybody then looked at me as like, oh, Georgia does this. Like I have that gig. And then I know, again, it's so vague, but it's like magic. Like people just come to you with gigs and it just happens. It's so bizarre.
Well, it's because also like we post a lot on social media, and so we are the brands. Like you are a brand, I am a brand. We've branded ourselves as our work. And so I know that like when people think female photographer in LA who shoots editorial, I think a lot of the times
they'll think of you
like, oh, Claire does that perfect. She fits that category perfectly because I branded myself as the person who does that. So it's another part of like, I guess networking also goes hand in hand with utilizing social media to create that persona and brand of your work. And it is so important. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is what I'm going to preach on really quick.
Okay.
This is so important. And I do workshops, and this is the number one thing that I tell people to do. And surprisingly, so many creatives don't do this. I don't know if you know what I'm thinking of yet.
I don't know. That's why I'm excited.
So many creatives don't do this, which is shocking. And so many big, successful creatives don't do this. Have a website. For the love of God, have a website. It is so easy, and you would not believe the amount of people who go to your website without you realizing. Because we don't get a notification, we don't get a like when someone goes on our website. But when I look at the stats on my website, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, so many people are looking, and I get shoot inquiries through my website.
I was gonna say that's a good thing to note. Like, also on your website, have like some kind of contact or like inquiry button where people can actually reach out to you or book a call with you, or like here's like, if you want to do this type of shoot, like book with me. Just have some type of contact information.
Exactly. And also having a variety of your client work on your website. For example, my Instagram is a lot more just work that I like. It's travel stuff, it's portraits that I took of my friends or like of models that I really like working with. There's not a lot of my client work, just because my client work isn't always the most like exciting. It's just so much stuff. But my website is dedicated to showing all the types of client work that I can do, and the huge array of it, so people know, oh, she doesn't just shoot portraits, she shoots like literally everything. And so I have made my website very accessible. It's literally on every social media platform, and it's very clear. It's all my biggest clients that I've worked with right away.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Into music, then it goes into portraits, then it even goes, there's a section for maternity and engagement shoots, which I don't do as much. But ever since I put on my website, I book a lot of those. And you know what? They may not be the most exciting shoots, but you get 4, 5, 6 of those a month. You're making
chilling.
bank.
I was gonna say you're chilling.
So, like, have a website that shows off everything that you do. That way, if you want to keep your Instagram all like aesthetic and pretty, you can do that. But just make sure you have an Instagram. And like Georgia said, have a place where they can contact you. And this is something that I put on mine. I think I told you this, but it's so cute and so fun. And I feel like it also helps people want to hire me because it's something unique. In my contact me form, when people send shoot inquiries, they have to check off a box and answer this question, and they can't submit the inquiry without submitting it. Ooh. And it says, what are you the most grateful for today?
Aww.
And people, there's a little asterisk, so they have to answer.
I love that.
And it's such a stupid, small, insignificant thing, but every
that's
single
really cute.
inquiry, I get someone's response, and immediately, I just feel like it puts more of a human connection into my website and into contacting me, and I think it's something that just brings more people to me. So just doing little simple things like that on a website. I didn't know that you did that. Yeah, it's just like, I think it just puts you up a step above in order for people to like remember you, because at the end of the day, there's so many creatives. It's very saturated. It's a very saturated market.
Yeah.
So
you just have to do like what you just said. You have to find little ways to just make yourself unique,
stand out a little bit.
And I think that's a really good way that you just said.
And you want to cover all your bases. So if you have social media, which you absolutely should if you're a creator, you absolutely should have a website, have your website easily accessible and linked. Use Linktree or whatever other platform that does it on your bio, on your Instagram and TikTok. That's also huge, because if you're just having your website, but you don't have all your other stuff linked, sometimes people will be like, well, I wanted to find your YouTube, or I wanted to find your TikTok. So take the time. It takes like 30 minutes to set up a really nice one. It's not even that long. And we literally just updated ours the other day. I use Unfold, the app Unfold. They have a really pretty aesthetic way of doing a link tree.
Maybe I should actually use that one.
You should. That's what I have on Shoot Your Shot Instagram.
If you guys are interested, but I think
Canva's good too.
Yeah, Canva's good, but I don't know. I think I want to make it look prettier.
So if you go to the Shoot Your Shot Instagram and you click on our little bio link, you'll see that we have a really pretty little link tree with all of our links. So that's another way of, it seems so easy, but like some people don't do it. It's a great way of getting clients onto your website to book you.
But also, to go off of the social media thing quickly too, I do think, like, let's just touch on that. And I cannot express how important that is. Like, I mean, I kind of struggle with it because I get so busy and I get so consumed, and like literally we're batching content right now, so we can just like push out a reel like almost every day starting in May. But it is so important to post your work. Like whether it's like how Claire said she only posts like a version of her work on social media, like you still need to post something. So just this industry. People need to know that you're still relevant, like you're still working. It's just social proof. Like you're getting clients. Like even if you aren't getting clients and you look like you're working all the time, that in itself is enough for your network who follow you to like be reminded of you constantly, to like just send
100%.
things your way, or to be like, hey, like just saw you do this really cool like drone shot of this boat company. Like my friend has a yacht company. He's been really wanting some stuff. Like, can I connect you guys? Like that's how easy it can be.
100%. That is so, I'm like, preach,
Yes.
sis. No, it's so important because you might feel like, oh, well, no one's even really watching what I'm doing, or like, I don't even have that many followers, but it doesn't matter. It takes literally one person to open a door,
literally.
and then boom, you have 10 doors that open. So, and obviously like there's a way to do it in a classy way. You're not just like posting 15 times a day that you're shooting. Like, but
you don't want to be overbearing and like annoying with it. You like literally just want to like be true to yourself. And again, like you're saying, it does not matter if you get like 500 views on a reel, 100 views, 15K views. Like it literally does not matter, because all it takes is for you. Even if this even goes into like finding clients too, like if you want to work with a boat company, I'm just using that as an example, and you post a cool boat reel, let's say it gets like 500 views, but it's a really sick shot, whether it's video, drone, photo, whatever, then you see that there's a boat company in, I don't know, San Diego. You're like, okay, cool. I want to make something for this company. Send them the reel that you posted and say something like, hey, like if you're ever looking for content, like I would love to come and help you out. Like here's some content that I took of a boat before.
100%.
Like if you have an email I can reach out to, or somebody I can talk to, like let me know. I would be super excited to help you. I don't know. Something like it, literally as easy as that can lead you to your next client.
That's so on point, because also like when I've hired people, like I've hired for video or producer or whatever, like I've noticed sometimes people like, oh, like I really want to do this gig. Like I shoot video and it's for like, let's say I'm shooting like a sneaker brand. I'm shooting for Puma. And I look at their page, there's not a single thing that could even be possibly related to a sneaker brand. And I'm like, why is this person pitching themselves to me as a videographer for a Puma campaign when like all I see is like drone shots of like Malibu, you know? It's like your drone shots are sick, but like what does that have to do with what you're pitching me for? So having an array of stuff on your Instagram, and honestly that's something that I need to do better. I don't post enough of my client work on my website, on my Instagram, but like be aware of who you're talking to also. Exactly. Like if you're trying to work with a boat brand, make sure that there was like something relevant to that on your page.
Even if like, and I think it doesn't necessarily have to be on your page, but like how you have stuff on your website, even if you just send them a link to something that has work that you've done related to that client, that's what matters. Like
have some sort of proof that you know what you're actually doing in that department. Because literally, dude, I see this all the time when like people want to work with me on a project, or like it's like a model and their Instagram is private. I'm like,
you're like, well, how can I see your stuff?
Do you think I'm gonna like hire you like not even knowing what you look like?
Yeah, that is another thing. I will say, I know like some people are weird about not wanting to have like public pages, but honestly, I really stand by this. I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a creator
100%.
and you have a private page.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but no client is going to want to request to follow you just to be able to see if your work could meet up to their standards. Like,
it's too much work. People are lazy. 5-second attention span.
Literally,
not
even
like put in that much
2
time.
seconds.
Yeah, no one's gonna put in that kind of work. So you want to make yourself as easily readable, available
as possible,
and bookable as easy as possible. So just keep that in mind. You want it to be so easy for someone, because if someone is debating between me and George, I'm just using me and you as an example.
That's fine.
Obviously, we both wouldn't do this, but we both have our accounts on public, but I don't have a website listed anywhere, but I have like a little bit more like work on my Instagram, but there's no website, and you have so much accessible information on how to book you, find out who you are, like what other stuff you've done on your website.
The client would probably go
lean towards you, because I'm like, well, this girl is professional. She has all her stuff together. It took me 2 seconds. And it's just little things like that make such a difference. And you might be like, oh, does it actually? Yes.
I was really on a
call, actually.
It really does.
I was on a call with a client the other day.
Was this in my apartment?
It was another time. And it was for a really cool brand. It was a whiskey brand.
Okay.
Hint, hint. And
you said hint, hint.
And I sent over my rates, and I have my rates in like a really beautiful, like designed like graphic.
Okay.
And all the questions she was asking me, I was like, oh yeah, they're on my pricing package I sent you. And she's like, oh my gosh, it is. She's like, wow, all the information is here. Usually I have to ask for all this information, but it's like, you already gave it to me. And I was like, yeah, I make it as easy as possible for you so you have no questions and you know exactly that I'm hireable right now. And she was like, wow, that's great. And like, this was someone who like works in an agency, and she was like, whoa. She was like impressed that I had all the information in a graphic, which is like, guys, do you know how easy that is?
It's like,
do you know how easy that is?
I was going to say, you could just go in Canva and like find a template and just input the information.
And if you don't know what Canva is, oh my gosh, Canva is a graphic design website platform.
It's amazing.
Incredible. Buy I
have the pro.
Buy the pro account. You have access to literally everything. There's so many templates, all the fonts. It's so easy to use. I don't even use Photoshop.
I don't use Photoshop
so much better than Photoshop, in my opinion.
I use Photoshop if like I'm actually editing photos, but in terms of like
graphic design,
I never use it now.
Easy, and the templates are so beautiful. So if you suck at graphic design, no worries. Stunning templates, and that's where you can do your pricing packages, your pitch proposals, which
and you can
we'll cover later. But you can do so much stuff on there.
I was going to say, I think because we'll probably go into an episode where we actually talk about how to curate your pitch for clients.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, Canva, and then just because. I just wanted to say this too because I remember thinking about this morning. There's also another site called beautiful.ai.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, I actually recently discovered this a couple months ago, and you can actually go on this site and look to see what Airbnb uses as a pitch deck, what Uber uses, what Snapchat uses.
Whoa.
It's like,
no way.
It was like game changer for me. I was like, wow. I know.
Am I writing that down?
No, I know. My one of my friends told me about it, and I went on and like just started like looking through everything.
So cool.
And it's just cool because you can see like how these bigger companies, like literally what they use in some of their pitch decks. And then it's helped us to be able to then curate and add a little bit more different things into our own pitch decks. So we were like, oh, wow, like we never really thought about using a graphic like that. Like how can we now take that and not necessarily copy it, but like add our own like creative touch to it.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's like, I mean, again, we will go into an episode of how to actually curate your pitches. Like if you're pitching to a client, like once you have them locked and you're like, how can I really get them to buy into this idea? But just that being said, super helpful website.
It's Beautiful AI.
Yeah, beautiful.ai. It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's powered by Adobe.
Okay.
It's like this literally like untouched website that like nobody ever uses.
Guys, this is a golden nugget right here. Please write this down and go use this.
Yeah, but like honestly, like what I do is I'll go on and look at that website, and then because I think you have to pay, and I hope like beautiful.ai doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but I think you have to pay to be a part of like beautiful.ai to like use all of its stuff. But what I'll do is I'll go and like, for example, I looked up like the Airbnb pitch, looked at it, like digested the information, and then I went on to Canva and then made my own pitch like from looking at that, and it was just so easy. And even if like you don't want to take that information, honestly, it helped to even like inspire me to think of like how I do want to like pitch to someone.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, like I said, we'll get into more curation of that, but beautiful.ai and Canva are like two like chef's kisses in the creator world.
I didn't even know about Beautiful AI, and I'm stoked to go experience this later today.
After. I'll literally show you. It's so sick.
Okay, cool. So the next thing that I want to touch on that I'm very passionate is cold emailing.
Yes.
This is something that's so important, and again, this one is definitely much more time consuming, and it's not hard. It just takes a lot of time and energy, but it is so worth the energy. And I have so many people who ask me like, I just can't get gigs. I don't get gigs. I'm like, well, what do you do? They're like, I don't know. I just like post on Instagram, and like, I don't know.
Like, that's not going to always work. I know we just talked about Instagram, but like
you have to be proactive. You got to do a little bit of everything, especially when you're starting. This is just what it is when you're starting. You don't have the proof yet that you know 100% of what you're doing. You don't have this crazy portfolio and client list. You got to do everything that you can possibly do.
And I feel like even when you do have that client list, like you still have to be proactive and pitch, like
100%,
because you'll go through, at least from my experience, I don't know if this is how you have been, but I know like we'll be on like a hot streak where it'll be like, oh, somebody recommended us for this, somebody recommended for this, and then all of a sudden it's like a drought, and then we're like, okay, well, we rode the momentum, but like the momentum isn't always going to stay. Like you still have to be proactive and go pitch yourself and go reach out to clients 100%. And blah, blah, blah. So cold emailing, 100% agree. Keep going.
Yeah.
And I'll add in.
No, she's so right. Like, you cannot get ahead of yourself and be like, well, I'm booking a lot of jobs this month. I should just stop working and looking for other jobs. Well, at some point, there's going to be a drought. It just happens. We've talked about this so many times in the podcast. It's normal. Even the most successful people have droughts.
Yes.
So cold emailing is a way to almost always certify that you're going to have more gigs.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time. You have to email a lot. There's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of people ignoring you.
But you cannot let that affect you.
You cannot stop doing it.
Yeah.
You cannot give up, because when you give up is when you're just, I think if you just give up, you're never going to progress past a certain level in your career, because it does take a lot of no's. I still get no's all the time. I
get no's all the time.
I got a no the other day and I literally cried over it. So I was like,
wait, I got a no the other day too. And I was like, I wanted this so bad.
It still hurts and it sucks, but cold emailing is a great way to get more yeses. So this
also is sometimes when people say no, it's not necessarily like you and your work. It's just they literally have maxed out on all of their like either budget or like creators they've already worked with, or like they're done with the campaign. They're not doing a campaign right now anymore.
Yeah.
That is something to keep in mind. Or they just don't want to work with you.
There's a reason.
I was going to say, but don't take it personally.
Either way, yeah, it's fine. It happens. So what I do, I try to do this weekly. Some weeks I fail, but I really do try to do this weekly, is cold email at least 10 to 15 brands, which honestly isn't even that much, but it's very time consuming. So what I do personally, I reach out to brands that really align with the work that I already have. So for me, it's a lot of like nice clothing brands, streetwear stuff, products, like anything that's in the fashiony lifestyle world. I love shooting that kind of stuff. So for example, I always use Puma as an example, but I love Puma.
That's good.
They're amazing. They're like one of my favorite clients ever. And so if I wanted to reach out to Puma, and this is such a hack, I go on LinkedIn and I find all the people in Puma who work in Los Angeles or in Puma North America.
Wait, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, keep going now.
And I go, okay, so what you do, you go to LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, this is, you guys, if you don't use this is like the biggest.
I was going to say LinkedIn is like,
this is how I get some of my biggest clients. So I go to the Puma LinkedIn page, like the business page. Then I go to people, which is all the people who are employed by Puma, who are at least are on LinkedIn, which is like most of them. Then on the little search bar underneath people, I look up specific keywords that have to do with people who hire creatives. So this could be anything from head of marketing, social media, content manager, brand marketing manager, content manager, like it's anything that relates to do content and managing and any sort of that stuff. So I tried a bunch of different keywords, and sometimes I'll specify a location. It depends. Like right now I'm specifying for Paris, obviously, since I'm moving there. But when I'm here in LA, I really just don't specify LA, because usually people are based in LA. And even if they're not, it doesn't really matter. So I'll put in the specific keywords of people. So I'll be like brand, content manager, creation, whatever. And all the people who have a title in that category will pop up. I open their LinkedIn accounts and I get their emails. And then I email them. And yes, do I hear back from all of them? No. I probably hear back from, if I send 50 emails, I probably hear back from maybe 10. Out of the 10, I book usually one.
But that's all that it takes is one
job, and they pay me $7,000.
Boom.
Or even if it's 2 and they pay me $3,000, that's $6,000 total.
Yeah.
You know, and even if it's 0, then the next 50 you get 3 hires.
Exactly.
So it is a lot of work. It's time consuming. You got to go through all the steps. So what I do is I keep a spreadsheet in my like Google Excel sheet or whatever, and I have the list of the brand. I have the list of the contact email, their name, and then I have a progress portion where it says emailed once, emailed twice, emailed 3 times, and then in progress, job secured, or I could even be like wrong email, not interested, just so like I don't by accident hit up the same person twice, because that has happened. That's super awkward.
Say, I did that once, and I was like, ooh, that's actually what made me
more than once.
No, literally, that's what actually made me realize like, okay, I need to keep up with, because I'll have a spreadsheet, but then sometimes I'll forget to update it.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, oh shit,
so
I've emailed you before.
I have a new hack. If you forget to update your spreadsheet, literally, at least in Gmail, I don't know for the other stuff, but like, why are you using anything else other than Gmail? You can set a category for all of your emails. So I make a little folder, and then it'll be like brand active, which means like I'm actively talking to this brand, or brand inactive, which means like there's no gig, they don't want to talk, like goodbye.
But you at least have that email, so for reference.
Well, then every single email in my inbox is colored. It's color coordinated. Every single email.
We love a color-coded,
if I get
organized
an email,
queen.
If I get an email that's blue, I'm like, boom, I know it's a brand that I'm actively talking to. Prioritize that. If it's red, it means inactive. Like I just got like a message like we're not interested. If for example the email bounces, this is a big one. If the email bounces, I put it yellow, incorrect email. That way, if I ever accidentally reach out to the same email, it'll come up as yellow, and I'm like, oh shit, I know that I don't want to email that person again. I'll also have categories, so I have a colored category for travel, for hotels. I have a colored category for like inquiries sent to me, like via like my website, basically, like the Squarespace. Then I'll have a category for models who are interested in working with me, category for maternity and engagement.
Oh wow, that's so organized.
Everything is organized. That way it's so much easier and less overwhelming when I do emails, because it can, dude, anything that's literally not holding a camera, I'm like, ew, I don't want to do it. So if I can have everything organized, so it's like so easy for me to just plug in for an hour.
I'm like feeling inspired right now to do that to my own email.
Do it. It's so helpful. And it's
because I have like certain categories, but I don't have like it color coded into that extent.
Dude, it's so nice. And it's color coded and it has the name on it.
I know, that's so nice.
Color coded brand active. So my brain immediately is like prioritize,
like email
prioritize right now. That's an active client, an active interest.
Wow, I feel like that would really help my ADHD.
Also, I have one that's for collaborations. That's also important, because sometimes I am doing a collab for like travel hotel, or it's like, honestly, sometimes I just don't want to pay for new clothes. So I'll be like, oh, hey, do you want to work with me this brand and like just give me free clothes? Because like I'm down, because I was going to spend money on clothes anyways.
I do that all the time.
So I'll have collab, you know? So like it just helps with like prioritizing who and what I'm emailing. So spreadsheet is good. I still keep that updated. But if you are just forget, it's easier sometimes to do it in your email. So once you get the email, that's when you can start plugging away and just emailing all these potential clients and brands. And like I said, it's about quantity. So like the more brands you email, or the more potential clients, hotels, even models, like if you only work with like models and these models pay you, like just email as many as you can, and you're gonna get so many no's. Please don't feel discouraged.
Honestly,
please
like
don't
like, that's the biggest thing I think that you need to make sure you don't judge yourself over, is if a client says no, because like literally who cares? Like you tried. Like I always actually say just do it. Like the worst they can say is no, and then what are you gonna do? I mean, not to be mean, but like cry about it and like.
Well, I do. Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say, but like if you cry about, that's fine. But then like life goes on. Like life moves on. Like you have to keep going.
Yeah, and this is kind of funny and cheesy, but okay. So I have a finger tattoo right here, and it says no crossed out. Because back in the day, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, I used to get a lot of no's. I was at the beginning of my career. My portfolio wasn't as extensive as it is now. I was also not very good at like cold emailing, and I wasn't very good at pitching myself, which comes with time. Like you're not going to be amazing from the get-go. But I was getting so many no's, and I was getting so discouraged. Like I would literally just be like anxious every day. I didn't know if I was going to get any work, and I just started to hate my work and myself, because I was like, I suck. No one wants me. Blah blah blah. And so I remember if it was like a friend, or like I saw it on TV, or someone said, no just means next opportunity. Oh. And I was so inspired by that, because I was like, every time I get a no, I need to keep in mind that it doesn't mean this is like done. My career isn't done. It just means this is not the right opportunity for you right now. It means next opportunity. So I literally got this tattooed on my finger. It's no crossed out, to remind myself, like I did the other day when I didn't get that client. It's okay. It just means next opportunity. Something bigger and better is coming for me, and it always happens that way. I'll always be like so sad and upset that I didn't get this brand, and then like a month later I secure a dream job. And sometimes I don't, but it's still okay.
But like, it's okay, because like just everything. It's like one of those things. Like everything happens for a reason. Like if you weren't meant to work with that brand, there's some reason, because like you said, maybe your dream brand is like right around the corner,
and maybe you're just not a good fit for that brand. And like you also have to understand that like, hey, this brand is also putting a lot of money into their marketing campaign, and they want to hire someone that perfectly aligns with their vision. That doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means that right now you don't have the work that they're looking for, and that's okay. Yeah, like everybody has a style. Some people are going to hire Georgia for her style, and they would never hire me, and vice versa. I'm not taking that offensively. It's just like we have completely different styles. We do different things, and that's beautiful.
But that's good.
We have our own unique work. So just remember, the next time you get a no, it just means next opportunity. Don't give up. You got this. Yes. You are going to be successful. You just got to put in the time and the work.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, I know we still have to keep going, but I'm like, that would have been such a good way to close it.
I know.
But no, on that note too, really quick, before I forget, to go back to the LinkedIn thing, just to take it one step further in case those emails don't work, because I'll do this too. I do the whole LinkedIn thing, like find who I want to find and like look for their emails. But let's say if they don't have their email on there, and this could be like kind of stalkerish, but I don't care. I do it and it works. I'll then go and like find the person's Instagram.
Yes, I've done that before. Yes.
Like if it's somebody where I'm like, I really want to work with them, or if they even post something that I know that they need creators for, I'm like, fuck it. Like I'm just gonna shoot my shot. Shoot your shot.
Yes.
I didn't even do that on purpose. Shoot my shot and just DM them and see what happens. Or sometimes they'll even have like their Instagram will have like a contact button in their Instagram, so then you can find their email through there. But like a lot of these people, like I'm just going to use your Puma example again. A lot of these people will only have like a couple thousand followers on their Instagram because they're not like influencers. They're not like in the world. Like they're literally in the corporate like 9 to 5. Like they don't really give a fuck about their Instagram. So they're very, very approachable on Instagram when you DM them. And again, worst they can say is like, no, or like, how'd you find my Instagram?
And on that note, I've done that before too. And on that note, just something to keep in mind, and I know you do this for sure because you're like a very genuine person, but it is important to remember that this is a human, this is a person.
Yes.
You can't just use people to get work.
Yes.
You need to create an actual foundation for getting work because you want people to hire you because they trust you.
Exactly.
Because they want to work with you. Like if I'm hiring someone to be on set with me for 9 hours, I'm hiring someone who's good vibes, not just because they have great
you
work.
also have to hang out with them.
Exactly. So connect with these people, actually foster a genuine relationship. Going back to Puma, it's always Puma. When I first got a Puma gig, which again, Puma's been one of my favorite clients, some of my most favorite gigs, and the way that I got in is I literally DM'd on Instagram a girl who worked in marketing, and I just honestly I don't think I even DM'd her right away. I think I just followed her, and then she had posted something about really liking Excision or like dubstep, and I was like, no way, that is my favorite DJ.
Put
she was like, no way, and we like just started talking. This was like years ago, but we started talking about dubstep, and I was like, oh my gosh, girl, we have to go to a show together, and we ended up like becoming kind of like homies on Instagram, and then eventually I was like, by the way, if you ever need any sort of like work at Puma, especially like for the women's like products, like let me know, I would love to work with you. And she ended up hiring me so many times, and some of my biggest gigs that I've ever gotten came from Puma. Like I had my photos in Foot Lockers across America.
I remember that.
We literally all came from becoming friends with someone at Puma in a genuine way. It wasn't like a, hey, I'm Claire, please hire me.
Yeah.
That would have been like, girl, get the fuck out of my DMs. Like the fuck.
And also too, on that note, you just reminded me of something. If they're like, let's just use again Puma. If that was like your dream client where you were like, I need to work with them, you could even approach it as like, if you're in the same city as them, if you know they're like in LA, New York, I don't know, wherever you're from, like ask them to get lunch and just like get advice from them, or just talk about them, or like pick their brain, so that way it comes off as like, I don't want to say this is like fake. I don't want you to ever be fake.
Do it genuinely, like, because you actually care about the person.
Exactly, because like I've done that when I first moved to LA. This is when I was more in like the music industry and like producing festivals, but I used to literally be obsessed with like finding people in the industry like who did exactly what I wanted to do, and I would just say like, can I like treat you to coffee, like let's like meet up, like in like a very non-creepy way. And like a lot of the times it worked. I would get coffee, and then like they would just hire me for things like, oh, like love getting coffee with you. Like a month later, oh, this gig came up, it reminded me of what we talked about in the coffee shop. Like, if you're like free, submit, and I'll let them know that like I'm recommending you.
Yeah.
And then like boom, I got it. So
exactly. And even if like you're grabbing coffee with these people and nothing comes out of it, you never know when they're gonna talk to someone else and be like, oh, they're like, oh, I really need like a guy to shoot video for this like cool thing or whatever. They're like, oh, actually I just got coffee with this videographer dude, and like, yo, he was actually really cool. Like, I'll put you guys in a group chat. You never know.
You just never know.
And so just stay genuine, be yourself, get to know people, because you just love people. Like, humans are dope. Get to know them, and you never know what will come out of that. Another, maybe one of the last things that we're going to touch on, I would love to quickly say, at least in my experience, I don't know if you have the same experience, for me, working with production companies and directors has been really big. I have a lot of director friends who I've gotten really fun gigs with, and that was just from connecting with a lot of directors. I think at one point I went and like DM'd and followed like 30 really sick directors that I really liked, and I just started like liking their work and like would DM them when they post something really cool. And I think I emailed a few and was like, hey, like I would love to come on set sometime if you ever need like BTS or whatever, just like offering my services.
Oh yeah, I've done that actually. Even if it's like worked so well.
Yeah, even if it's like super cheap or like free of charge, I'm like, I just want to get on a set, like, you know, can I like essentially shadow you and just give you BTS or whatever you need, or like
just
help
like
out
doing
on set.
Like some free work to get you in the door, I think is also a really valuable thing to find future paying gigs.
Exactly. And another way that's good for getting more connections really is to work with production companies, especially if you're a producer. Like, I know a lot of producers who like don't really reach out, they just kind of wait around for jobs to come to them, which you should never do. Production companies are great because they're always working. There's so many production companies like having sets everywhere, even beyond LA. Like on the East Coast, there's so many film sets.
So many.
So if you can get in with a production company or a few, that's amazing. Like even just freelancing with them, which is something that I've done a few times. it's so easy. Like they just have so many random jobs all the time, and a lot of times they need stills or video or extra hands on set, and like that's a great way of just getting some extra gigs on the side. Yeah. So production companies, reach out to them, find them on Instagram, like find their emails, websites. I mean, you could literally just look up production companies in Chicago, production companies in Miami, like, and just reach out to all of them. On that note, one thing that I did forget to mention, actually, which is so happy I'm not forgetting this, is that you need to follow up when you send emails. Don't just send an email and then like never email them again. I literally follow up 3 to 4 times, and sometimes it takes the third follow-up to get that client, and I'll get it, which is crazy, because imagine if you didn't follow up, you would never ever book that client because they just simply didn't see your email, or they forgot to answer, or whatever, it got lost in their inbox. So
I was gonna say,
make sure to follow up.
Tool, I think it's called Yesware, and you can actually see if they opened your email and read it, so that way you know.
I have that too, but it's a different brand.
Yeah, I can't remember what mine's specifically called, but I just quickly Googled, and there is one that's called Yesware, but I feel like I might use a different one. But either way, there's also things that you can add to your email as extensions where you can see if somebody's opened it. Yeah. You can see if they've deleted it, if they just chose not to respond to it. So I even have sometimes been like, okay, cool, I saw they opened it, I'm gonna follow up. And it's worked. It's actually worked a couple of times.
Yeah, and you will not believe the amount of projects I've gone in because of a follow-up. Yeah. Like it's just crazy to me. So if you're emailing a production company, a brand, whatever, whoever, make sure you're following up. It's funny because the tool that I use, I cannot remember the name, but
I know, I can't remember my actual one that I've used.
I'll look on my laptop later.
I got a new laptop, and I have yet to actually like sync everything, so that's why I'm like, I fucking forgot the name.
The one that I use is funny because it shows me when the email's being sent around, and I can see where it's being sent to, like the city.
Oh, that's
so like
good.
I'll see that like the email landed in LA, and then it got sent to Chicago, and then Miami, and then New York. And so that's just a stupid example. I would never go in that circle, but
it's cool to see who to see that they're at least like they're forwarding it,
meaning that like if you reached out to someone in marketing, they're probably forwarding it to someone else in marketing to get approval or to get interest, and
or to like somebody who can actually help and assist with it.
Exactly. So like that's really good input to know like whether or not you should keep following up over and over again. But I say after 4 follow-ups, just like let it go.
Oh really? I always do after 3 because I'm being annoying.
Yeah, well, I'm talking 4 emails total.
Oh yeah.
So the intro and then 3 follow-ups.
Oh yeah. See, I only do 2 follow-ups.
Oh really? I do 3, but I've gotten gigs from the third one. I say 3 follow-ups.
Okay, I'm down for 3.
And also for the third follow-up, I usually say something like, okay, well, I'm closing out my client list for the year. Like I would love to add you guys to the list for the remaining of the year. Like if you're not interested, no worries, but I just want to let you know, like, this is my last, like, I don't have that much time for many more clients anymore. Yeah. Obviously, I word it in a much nicer way, but basically, I'm saying, like, there's a time limit on this. You kind of want to, like, rush it a little. If you don't book me now, like, I'm not going to have time for you later. Yeah. Whether or not that's true, that's debatable. Sense of urgency, basically.
Yeah. To quickly go back to the production companies, too, I think that it's important to note that even if you aren't in LA or New York or Chicago or any, like, big city, let's say, there are still production companies that you can utilize and reach out to. And I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and they have a ton of like film opportunities. Like if they just need more hands like on set to help out, like you just literally have to reach out and like Google production companies near me. And there's definitely some, especially if you are a creator and a more like, I know I kind of said this earlier, but like a small pond. Was it like a big fish in a small pond? That's what the saying is.
If you're a small pond.
If you're a small pond. But like if you are in a smaller city and you do reach out to the production companies and you get work with them, like I guarantee you will start to have consistent work because you will 100%. Be good at what you do. And like not that many people,
Everyone will go to you.
Yeah, like not that many people in like Pittsburgh, Ohio, like I'm sure like, I don't know, Wisconsin probably do creator stuff. I could be wrong. And if I am, I'm sorry.
No, well, there's obviously way less.
There's just way less. Cities. So there's more opportunity for you. Yeah. So just to put it out there, like that's not just like an LA or New York tip.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like you can get work everywhere. We're gonna do a part 2 because there's a lot more we can touch on, especially with like emailing and like pitching and stuff. But we hope this episode has been super inspiring and encouraging.
Yes. And if you have any questions if you have any questions on things further than what we talked about, like I don't know how to make your Upwork profile look the best, or like is this a good way that I'm emailing this company, or just I don't know, if you need more help, just please DM us. Like we'll
do like a follow-up, like ask us questions and we'll answer the questions on another episode.
Yeah, because like I personally would love, like when I was in a like much different position than I am now, like I would have loved to have somebody say, can you look at this email and let me know if this is a good way to email this client? Like,
Yeah.
I would have loved to have that. So if that's something that you guys after this episode need, like, please DM us. We're happy to help.
You know what we should do?
What?
We should have a bunch of people send over their pitch decks.
Oh,
and then we should go
yeah.
over them and like critique them and give pointers and stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
We should have a pitch off.
A pitch off.
Ooh.
So anyways, on that note, like, if you get anything out of this episode, just know that getting no's is totally normal.
Yes.
Don't be discouraged. Keep going. No means next opportunity, and you got this, and everyone experiences this, so you're not alone. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we really hope
another
this helped. So
episode.
actually let us know if this helped.
Yeah.
Because we're like, we hope it did.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it will. And yeah, follow us on all social platforms at Shoot Your Shot Podcast _ on Instagram. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, whatever it is,
Something,
Amazon
yeah,
Podcast or something. Leave us a rate and review on the platforms. And if you are enjoying this podcast, please share it with your friends, share it with people who are creatives. We would really appreciate it. It would mean the most. And yeah, we hope we can keep growing this podcast with you.
Yeah.
So on that note,
You did that so well.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay,
we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.